It happens. It really does. People do make mistakes. They're not thinking about running off the road and running into something and ending their life. Whatever the reason was, we wanted to try to protect people when they left the roadway. In the 60s, we were beginning to recognize and address highway safety issues. Passenger cars were being equipped with seat belts, and we didn't want those errant drivers to pay with their lives when they left the roadway. I'm Lance Bullard. I work for Texas A&M Transportation Institute at the Roadside Safety and Physical Security Division. Vehicles have evolved, the guidelines and standards have evolved from the roadway, the driver, and the environment. And out here, we're addressing just the things on the roadside. We're testing to a new standard. We're going to be crash testing and assessing a new rail to those new guidelines.
Go, Scott. Test complete.
When we crash test, we want to make sure that the accelerations that are felt by the occupants of that vehicle are at a survivable or tolerable level. That rail needs to contain and redirect that vehicle safely. And then ultimately, we want it to keep that vehicle upright and not put it back into other lanes of traffic and create a tertiary problem.
When we run a crash test, not only do we have to be very precise on the angle, but we also have to be plus or minus 2.5 miles an hour on the speed. We're talking about accuracy of 1/10 of a mile an hour. So we aim to please, and if we mess up a test, that's on us, and we try not to do that. My name's Matt Robinson. I'm the test conductor and head of electronics for the Texas A&M Transportation Institute Crash Test Division. Since we don't have a person in the car, we have to estimate their risk. We take the car motion and how fast it decelerates and in what direction. We can compute the approximate injury there would be to a person in the vehicle. My role in these tests are to ensure that data collection goes smoothly, make sure all the teams come together and everyone operates safely and we don't miss anything. Day of a crash test, we typically have anywhere from 12 to 20 people working depending on the severity of the test.
A new set of standards was brought out a few years ago, and we're having to retest that product to the new standards. My name is Bill Griffith. I work at TTI Proving Grounds. I am the Deputy Quality Manager and the Supervisor for the reporting group. My role during the crash test is to take measurements of the test article. We have other groups here that take measurements of the vehicle, and then there's the electronics group that takes measurements of what's actually happening to the vehicle as it goes through the crash test. Looking at the damage to the test article, measuring any kind of movements, where the car ends up, we measure as well. All of their data comes to us, and that's how we develop the report.
The cars we use are specific weight, wheelbase, things of that nature. That way everyone that's testing these things across the nation has a common metric to go by. We have a data system in the vehicle that measures X, Y, and Z accelerations, and from that we can determine what the occupant risk is. 2.5. If a car collapses the door in and crushes the driver, no matter how soft the impact was, it would still do serious injury to the vehicle occupant, and that's not what we want to see. The way we test here has been developed since the 50s. We use some technology as old as 60, 70 years old. For example, we use 1950s flash bulbs on the hood of the vehicle. Upon impact, that flash lets us stitch together all of the video frames from every different angle. And so post-processing, we can give the customer a video from multiple angles that shows the exact same reaction from all angles.
Today, we're utilizing a lot of computer modeling and simulation. We can try literally thousands of different concepts or iterations before we go out and perform physical testing. And that saves both time and money in the design procedure or process.
Simulation is pretty nice whenever you have a lot of different scenarios and you're just moving a few feet up or back, and it'll show you really where that sweet spot is, worst case scenario to hit it.
vehicles continue to evolve with SUVs, pickup trucks. The center of gravity has gone up, so those are higher vehicles than probably your grandparents' Cadillac that was a big, low, we called them sleds. So we've raised the height of the guardrail. We're using the same components basically, but we have a much superior performance out of those components just by the way they're assembled on the roadway.
The speed and the angle have changed over time, and that's based on just the construction that's out there. You know, the size of the roads and the speeds that you're going at on the highways and roads right now.
The brain power that goes into some of these installations and products is just amazing. Knowing the work that's gone into these products to save lives, it just makes me really appreciate things I used to take for granted.
They were averaging about 60, 70 tests a year, and now we're approaching 120 or more. Each group really does focus on their expertise. You couldn't do this without everybody working it. You have to have every portion of the team to do it.
Guardrail, crash cushions, breakaway sign supports, those things have contributed significantly to the reduction of deaths, and we continue to improve the performance of those devices, and then ultimately we prove out those concepts here at the proving ground, conducting physical crash tests.
I feel good about it because we're saving lives, but at the same time it's very challenging work. I have a lot more respect for the things we see on the side of the road.
Well, it's all about saving lives. At the end of the day, you're taking a product that's meant to keep the people on the road safe and alive, and you're testing that product and ensuring that the product that goes out there is capable of saving those lives to the best of our ability.
You know, I'm very fortunate to have this job. We all in this building take this very serious because we're dealing with lives. These are people we know. We have lost friends and family. I know my kids have lost friends texting and leaving the roadway. So this has a lot of meaning.